What is going on, everybody? My name is GiraffeAnatomy, and this is another Smite quick god guide. Today, the god we are taking a look at is Cu Chulainn, Hound of Ulster. What we're going to do is we're going to get into his abilities, talk about his passive. Cu Chulainn is very unique. He has some really cool things to talk about today, so we'll get into him, how to use him effectively, and hopefully by the end of the video, the goal is that you can take Cu Chulainn into any game mode, arena, joust, conquest, whatever it is, and be able to use him more effectively because we've gone over exactly how to use him, how to utilize his kit, all of those things, right? What I'm going to do is I'm going to get into jungle practice, and we're going to get into it. We're going to get into it, right? So Cu Chulainn is categorized as a warrior in Smite. This means that he does physical damage, and he is of melee range when it comes to his basic attacks, right? It's basically like what his spear can hit. So he is a really, really, really good solo laner. He's always kind of been in the meta, some sort of bit, but lately he's actually been really, really good. And the reason Cu Chulainn is such a good solo laner is basically because of the way his kit works. What I'm going to do is I'll level everything up to 20 here real quick. And we will talk about his passive and the way he works, right? So first of all, he has a rage meter. We're going to talk about that with his passive here in a second and talk about what that means. Like, what's a rage meter? He doesn't have mana like normal gods in Smite do. So let's talk about his passive first, and then we're going to go over his abilities. We'll talk about how to use them, item utilization with his passive, all this stuff, right? So first of all, his passive is called Berserk. Cu Chulainn's mana, MP5, and mana heals are applied to his health pool. Abilities consume rage, which stops regen at 25, but he gains rage upon hitting with his abilities, as well as one rage for basic attacks, and 0.5 when he or allies takes damage. After 3 seconds above 85 rage, he goes Berserk. While Berserk, Cu Chulainn gains power and a health shield, right? First of all, the health conversion, right? 20% of what would be his mana ends up counting towards his health, right? So one thing to note about him, if you look at his health, 200, 2472, right? If I buy something that has mana on it, one of the easiest things is like say a Jotun's or something like that, right? So say I buy a Jotun's Wrath. It has 150 mana, right? It doesn't have any health on its stats, but if I buy it for him, you saw his health go up. That mana, that 150 mana that he would normally get, that gods would normally get to use their abilities, that is instead applied to his health bar. If you buy high mana items, right, you will get health. So things like Breastplate end up being good on him because instead of 300 mana, you are getting that added to your health pool, right? It's not a lot, but it adds up, right? And it's 20% of whatever the mana would be, right? Gets added to it. So it would be 20% of the 300 mana, right? That gets added to his health bar. Another thing to note about this, so say you sell this off and you sell this off and you go to MP5, right? This is going to act as HP5 for him. So Genji's Guard has 40 MP5. If I go over here and I start getting attacked by Guan Yu, get away from me, Guan Yu. Alright. So he's not attacking me anymore, but you will see that my health is going up. Why is my health bar going up? It's from the 40 MP5 from Genji's Guard. So if you get MP5, it's basically acting as HP5 for him, right? These are some cool, unique advantages to Cu Chulainn that are, I find, like, make him really unique, make him cool god, and make him very, very good in solo lane. And the reason why is, what do solo laners get access to? They get access to the blue buff. What's the blue buff? It's a mana buff, right? So using this, and you can see I'm building my rage as I'm doing my basic attacks. But if you have a blue buff with Cu Chulainn, I'm going to go over here again for you. What does the blue buff normally do? Against plus 4 mana healed per second, right? So if I just get attacked by Guan Yu again for a while here, I have no items, right? But you will see that I'm healing constantly. That's from the blue buff, right? So the blue buff gives Cu Chulainn health constantly. So with a blue buff and with certain builds, you're kind of always getting like this healing back and stuff like that. You can see all these like little +1s and stuff, right? This is basically the tick. Now, it's not a ton, it's not a lot, but it is something, right? Sometimes it keeps you from dying too. And it adds to like the sustain that you can have in lane as a solo laner, right? If you have health and you don't need to back all the time, you can be in lane more often, you can be farming more often, right? And you can see basically I'm almost at like full health again, right? With just a blue buff. That's without like builds and stuff, right? With like Genji's guard and all these other things that have like MP5 to them. If you build like a bunch of stuff with MP5 on it, you will be constantly healing from those things, right? So you can build things, you know, all of these have MP5. You'll notice that he heals even faster than he normally does, right? So if you do something like this, you kind of just get taken down a notch here, get Guan Yu off my back, and you'll see it, right? You're seeing these numbers go up even faster. Cool. So now that we've talked a little bit about this unique thing that he has, which is his mana gets put into his health, right? So if you buy something with mana on it, it will go into his health pool instead, right? His total health. You see I have 218 now. If I go and buy this, I have 2872, right? Instead, so more things with mana, the more health you'll have. But also, let's talk a little bit about rage, right? What is rage? So rage is he needs to be hitting with his abilities as well as his as well as his basic attacks, right? And if him or allies take damage, he also gains rage. So you saw with Guan Yu, my rage was going up just getting hit by him, right? So whether you're basic attacking, it's literally one rage a basic attack. You can see it going up 70, 71, 72, 73, 74. And then once you get to 80, right? Once you get to 85, this goes up, and this is when he transforms, right? And now I have a completely different set of moves. I'm constantly doing damage, venting my rage. We'll talk about his 2 in a second. And you're like this for 20 seconds, right? You get bonus health, you get bonus power, you know, all that stuff, right? You can see he has his little health shield too on top of this. So this is 2872. Plus, you're going to get that little bit of health shield on top, right? The bonus health, 10 plus 15 per level. So that's how you transform with him. You need to get your rage up, and then when it's done, it goes down to 25, right? And then you got to build it back up each time. So be basic attacking with him. It counts on minions too. So this is why he's so good in solo lane, because using your abilities or auto-attacking minions gives him rage as well. And if you do this correctly, while you're fighting another god, you should be able to clear, gain your rage, and then be able to transform into your berserk form pretty easily, constantly, right? Because the waves are always there. And we'll talk about his other abilities because they actually stack a lot on the minions, right? So we talked a lot about how he turns into the monster that he is, right? Mana, MP5, all that stuff goes into his health pool. He doesn't have mana. He has rage, right? You want to get, it starts at 25, right? You want to get to 85, you will transform into your berserk form. You are pretty hard to kill in your berserk form, right? So you kind of want to get there and be in there as much as possible and always be getting to that, right? So let's talk about his first ability, and then we'll go through his first ability as just regular Cu Chulainn, and then we'll go through it in his berserk form. So Barb Spear. Cu Chulainn thrusts his spear forward, damaging all enemies in front of him, and stunning less powerful minions. Successfully hitting an enemy minion with this ability will restore 5 rage and 8 for a god, to a max of 18. Barbs from this spear stick in opponents and reduce their healing received for 4 seconds. So first of all, anti-heal is built into this ability, right? The healing reduction is 50%, so this is why he's good in solo lane. A lot of solo laners have heal built into their kit. Hercules has his 3. You know, like you'll see some guardians flexed in there. People like Hades that heal a lot off their waves and stuff if you're hitting them with this. Cerberus, like people that will build healing and anti-heal and stuff like that, right? This is good against gods that have healing in lane. Guan Yu with his 1, right? If you're able to hit him with this before he uses his 1, he won't heal as much, right? So he has anti-heal built into his kit with this. So let's take a look at this. When you use it, this is basically what it looks like. And when you do that, right, it costs 9 rage to use. And because I hit an enemy god, I only got 8 for it. 8 rage back, right? So it says it restores 5 rage for minions, 8 for a god. Because I only hit 1 god, and it costs 9 rage, I go down 1, right? So look, I go down from 49 to 48, right? Spends it, but I get it because I hit him. So you want to be hitting people with your abilities. Now, if you can get 2 gods with it, it actually goes up, right? You spend, you know, your 9 to use it. You get 8, and then another 8, which is 16 because you hit 2 gods, right? So if you hit multiple enemies with this, you actually gain rage using this ability. Let's go look at the Minion Waves, right? Because the easiest way to stack your rage is to use your 1 on a full Minion Wave, because you basically get 5 for each of these minions, right? So, you know, throughout all of them, I think it caps out at, what did it say, 18? So it will cap out at 18, right? So you can get 18 by hitting all the minions with it, right? And maybe like the enemy god you're with too. So if you can get the enemy god with it plus a minion wave, easiest way to do this. Same thing with your 3. We'll talk about that in a second here, but basically that's it, right? You're doing anti-heal. You're able to use stun for the 2 seconds, like the lesser minions and stuff like that. So real quick, I'll show you again. You can see the minions are sitting there like, this is actually like a really good thing when you're doing stuff, and I've transformed because I've reached the 85 cap, right? And so I guess this is a good time to talk about Ground Slam in his Berserk form. Basically, Cu Chulainn and Stain slams his fist and arms down, damaging and rooting all enemies in front of him. And this ability costs no rage, right? That's basically what that looks like. It's just like a simple Ground Slam. And I'll go through it again in rage form when we get the time, right? So basically, in his Berserk form, Cu Chulainn instead just slams his fist down. He damages and roots all enemies in front of them, and it costs no rage. So the big thing is when he's in his Berserk form, nothing really costs rage. He's constantly doing his 2, using your 3 or your 1, like, don't cost anything, right? So let's talk about his second ability here first. Vent Anger, right? So Cu Chulainn vents his anger as superheated steam, increasing his movement speed and draining his rage. Every 0.5 seconds while in this state, all enemies within range are damaged by the heat. Vent Anger does not return rage. So really, in his normal form, unless you're chasing somebody down for a kill, you never really want to use this ability because you want to get to his rage as fast as possible all the time, right? When you use this, you see how I'm going to lose 16 rage doing this, right? Because that's what it costs. Even if I hit like multiple people, doesn't matter. I vented my rage. It does this pulse for a while, right? And I don't get the rage back, right? So you're basically spending rage here. The only time you want to do this is to confirm a kill. Like, it's almost the only time you want to do this, because you will get movement speed. So you'll be able to like chase somebody down. You see it right now, I have movement speed of 437. I go forward and I press this, I have 455. So you can use it to chase somebody down, and while you're chasing them down, right, you're doing the tick damage, right? So maybe if they're like down to a sliver, you really want to get to them, yes, you can vent your rage, but more often than not, you're not going to want to use it, because look, now I have no rage. I can't use any abilities because I have no rage. That's the downfall to Cu Chulainn. You need to rage management. It's an anger management, it's rage management with Cu Chulainn. So you always want to be with him, right? Basic attacking to get your rage up, right? You almost always want to be like in a lane or basic attacking an enemy god, because you're able to kind of like trade with enemy gods because he's so tanky all the time. Just always be autoing, building that rage up, right? If you can use your abilities correctly, and hit like multiple targets, like the minion waves plus the enemy gods, you're able to build that rage up and really not have to have mana control, right? Like you'll always be increasing your rage, right? And if you, like I said before, if you want to use this, you can, but it's normally just for chase down, for the damage per tick, right? For the movement speed. In his berserk form, Cu Chulainn does this automatically, right? So once he hits his berserk form, I will show you. Once he hits the berserk form, right? He does this automatically. You'll see this ability is already firing, right? You see this around me? So just being in people's presence, you are constantly doing it, right? And it's going to last full 20 seconds while he's in rage, right? You'll see the full 20 seconds of the countdown here while he's berserk. The second ability is automatically going off while he's transformed, right? So you don't have to worry about it when he is transformed. Let's talk about his third ability now. It's called Salmon's Leap. Cu Chulainn vaults over his spear, leaping to a target location and slamming it down to damage enemies around and in front of him. Successfully hitting an enemy minion with this ability restores 5 rage, 8 for a god, to a max of 18. So this works the same way that the one does. Use this in the minion wave because it will restore rage for you very quickly. Basically, your thing here is, and it is your escape ability, but you want to go in here and you want to clear wave fast, you basically do this and you do this. The wave is like clear, you get a lot of rage from it, right? Just with those two abilities, right? So you're able to clear wave, you're able to, if you do it right, you'll get them in the circle around it, but then there's kind of like that little bit in front of him too. It all does like the damage, right? So you're able to get kind of like the whole wave plus the minions in the back with it as well. So if you see here, when I do this, right, that will do the damage to him. And then I'll show you again once it comes back up. The same thing with the circle around him, right? So say you don't hit him with that, it will still do the damage in the circle, but you get that extra little portion, so it gives you a little bit of range there. And you can use that to clear the minion wave pretty effectively, right? So in his berserk form, let's talk about that. In his berserk form, Cu Chulainn instead charges forward, damaging, stunning, and driving all enemies back with him. This ability costs no rage. So really quick, I'm going to show you. I'm going to do this. So if I do this, I'm going to hit both of them again, right? You can hit like 2 people with that ability. Same sort of thing. I'm going to do this again. Let's build up his rage all the way to 85. Bloop. Alright, now we're going to take a look at his 3 in this ability. So basically his 3 is this, and it's not very long, but if you do it, right, you drive people forward, they get stunned, they get pushed back with you as well, right? Between this here, where you can root people, and your 3, the way you want to use it is you kind of want to use your 1 to root them so they're in place, and then use your 3 to drive them to like a place that you want, right? So your combo really is like your 1, because your 1 in his berserk form, he slams it down, you root the enemies in front of you, right? And then you can, with that root, be able to kind of angle yourself and use your 3 to push them to somewhere. So if you angle it right, when you're in your berserk form, you can use your 1 and then your 3 to like push them back under tower, push them more towards your team, push them away from your teammates, like all that kind of stuff. That's how you manipulate them. You get to your berserk form, you're able to root them with your 1 and then push them somewhere with your 3, right? So let's talk about his ultimate here, right? So quick recap on the 3 items. Build your rage with your 1 and your 3. Try and clear as many minions as possible because you're getting like 5 rage per minion, right? So you're able to build a ton if you hit multiple minions, right? Get to a max of 18. Hit minions, hit multiple gods with it as much as possible. Don't use his 2 unless you're confirming a kill. You really don't want to spend your rage that you're trying to build up to get to berserk mode, right? So only use this if you need to maybe get away from somebody for the movement speed, or you need to chase somebody down for a kill and they're literally like a tick or 2 away from dying, right? Let's talk about his ultimate, because his ultimate is different in both forms, right? So his ultimate in this form is called Spear of Mortal Pain. Cu Chulainn swings his spear, Gay Bulge. That just sounds weird. Gay Bulge? I don't know. In a circle around him. damaging and knocking up all enemies. Successfully hitting an enemy minion with this ability restores 10 rage. 26 for a god to a maximum of 36. So, this ability is actually a great way to build your rage. I know it sounds weird because normally it's like, oh, your ultimate, it gets on a cooldown. Oh, whatever. You basically want to use this to get to your rage as fast as possible. So you can do this. And if you hit multiple minions and an enemy god, you're going to get a lot of rage from this. So by using like your 1 and then your ultimate, like, yes, this is down to what, like a 50-second cooldown. But when you transform, I'll show you in a second. Hold on. Come on, let's go. So it will build rage for you. So all this, right? Get those autos, let's go. Come on, Minion Waves, let's go. So yeah, so successfully hitting an enemy minion with this ability restores 10 rage, 26 for a god to a max of 36, right? I want to get to that rage for you here. Do this. Let's do that. I'm about to rage out. As you can see, there isn't a cooldown in his rage form. So now we have what is called War Cry, right? Cu Chulainn in his berserk form instead gives a terrifying yell, damaging all enemies and causing them to tremble, right? So if you go here and you use his ultimate here, this is what it looks like, right? You'll damage all enemies, minions, gods, all that stuff. So really you can use this if you're like just about to maybe get to your rage and you're in lane and the enemy god's there, and you can hit the whole wave plus the enemy god, get a ton of rage, right? And then transform and you'll still have it up. Even though this is on a cooldown, you'll still have it up in your berserk form, right? The berserk form has different cooldowns than your normal form does. So it doesn't matter if you just use an ability, right? So let me try this again. I'm going to show it to you guys again here really quickly. Come on, let's go. All right, we're about to rage out. Now, if I'm about to rage out, I'm going to use this ult. There we go. I'm at 100 of 100. I'm about to rage. There we go. Now my rage is there. I'm going to do this. I'm going to root them. I'm going to push them together. Then I'm going to do my War Cry, right? Which is my ultimate. Damage everybody in there. I'm going to do this again. I'm going to hit them again with this, right? They're rooted. You just want to be autoing the whole time you do this too, right? Push them to where I want. Be able to slam them down on the ground, right? You're going to do a ton of damage in this form. And see how when I go back, it's still on cooldown? Yeah, that's fine. But when you're in your rage mode, you kind of get all your cooldowns back and stuff like that in his rage. They're completely separate. So yeah, the yell has no costs when it's in rage, and it does have a 35-second cooldown. So you're normally only able to get like 1 out when you transform and stuff. So make a good use of it when you're able to transform. Like try and get as many people in it as possible. Do as much damage as possible when you're raging out. Use your ability as effective as possible, but you're able to dish out a ton of damage and do a lot of damage with him, right? So let me get up to it one more time. Bloop. And we're going to do this. Oh, there we go, baby. 100 out of 100. If you could do this early, right? Rage out. That's both of them there. We have a 20-second cooldown. Unfortunately, you normally are only able to get 1 out just because the Berserk has a 20-second cooldown in and of itself. I'm going to mash these guys together. Do my autos, hit this. Yeah, you basically want to be up in their face when you're Berserk and Rage to get the most out of your vent, right? It's basically in a small AoE around you. It's like this size while you're in Berserk and stuff. And it's constantly going. So do that tick damage, do those auto damage, use your 1 and your 3, and then do your War Cry at the right time. You will murder people. So yeah, that's about it for Cu Chulainn. Most of his abilities are like all that stuff. Like I said before, you can build him pretty tanky. You saw I was still dishing out some good damage numbers there. I basically have full defense on. So you can build him tanky. You can throw in like an item or two in there, like I said before. You could do things like throw in, let's see, like the best things to build on him, like Glad Shield's always a good starter, right? Do the Bluestone Pendant build is fine. A Warrior's Axe build is fine on him. Those sorts of starters are really good into like a Glad Shield, and then from there you can kind of build things that would be pretty decent on him, right? Doing something like, oh, I guess I'm not in the store or whatever, but building some things on him that will give him like health. You don't have to be worried about like the mana thing. I wouldn't pay too much attention into like the mana conversion stuff. That's just, I was just letting you know like what it does when you get mana or MP5. These types of builds are not optimal, right? But anything that would increase his attack speed is great, like Shoguns, right? Because you're trying to always be autoing with him, and when you're in your Berserk form, you're autoing fast. You're able to do and dish out a lot of damage with him. So yeah, things like this will help heal him. This will help his abilities, which you use a lot, do damage. Then you could build super tanky, go into things like Shoguns, stuff like that. And then yeah, what I would do is I don't play a ton of Cu Chulainn in solo lane. So if you want very specific builds or something that's like really, really good, go to like pro Smite builds, or go to like Smite Guru and look up ranked conquest matches with him and like what the masters level players are building on him. They will give you much better builds that like feel good, that are meta. It's always changing. I realize like I'm talking about items and stuff that I'm building for him now, which it's patched like 9.7 right now. You know, this video could be watched a year or two from now, and you're trying to learn about him, and the meta for items has completely changed. So if you want to check out items for Cu Chulainn, go into like your most current source, or you can go into our Smite Discord server called the Smite Dojo. There is a link in the description down below. Go check out our Smite Discord server. You can ask somebody there, somebody that is like Masters or Diamonds level, or a mentor or something like that, and just say, hey, what's the most up-to-date build for Cu Chulainn right now? And then if you want to meme, you can do an auto attack build with him and just go meme around. It's actually like pretty effective. If you get something like Hasten Katana and you just want to have some fun, like go for it. Like I'll show you real quick. If you do like a blade type build with him, do this. You know, get some bows, get some life steal, right, and just like run at people. You can do that too. So that's always like a fun meme build. Like get the Kin's Executioner, Berserker Shield, something like that, and just like run at people. It's always cool to have fun like that in an arena every now and then. So give that a go if you want to meme. But if you want to play him serious, you're gonna play him in solo lane. You're gonna build like solo laners build, right? Like with like a bluestone pendant and like a glad shield start into some defensive items, and maybe pepper in something like a heart seeker or something here and there, like at the very end of your build or something, to do more damage if you want to with your abilities, and stuff like that. So thank you guys so much for watching. Really appreciate it. Feel free to subscribe to the channel if you want to get notifications on when I do videos. I also go live on YouTube and Twitch a lot. So if you're looking to just join in on the stream, feel free to do so. My Twitch is in the description below. YouTube, you have it already. So come and join the streams when I do them. Come say hi. If you guys want me to play some weird stuff or ask questions about builds or show you guys something, like I'm always available and free to do that as well. So thank you guys so much for watching. I really appreciate it. And hey, have a great day.